I'd like to call you Your Majesty.
Your Highness, and then ma'am. That works fine. Or Joan.
Or Joan. I'm going to call you Joan. Can you tell me a little bit about your childhood? There were 2 daughters, weren't there?
There were 2 daughters, and I wasn't neither the pretty one nor the smart one.
Okay.
That was my sister. But my childhood really, usually comedians, you know, have terrible childhoods. I had a very nice childhood. My father was a physician. My mother was a house mother who cared about us. We lived in a good suburb. We went to good schools. I mean, it was all fine.
Was there a lot of laughter in your household?
My father was very, very funny. And that's why I think it's all about genetics and DNA. My father would come home, and he was a wonderful doctor, and he would do imitations of all his patients. Hey, doctor, you know. And so my father was very funny, and there was laughter. And just the usual growing up. I was not an attractive child, and I think that's where it went wrong, that the humor came out.
Oh, I think that's where it went right, possibly.
Well, thank God now.
Yeah, yeah. Was your sister funny?
My sister still is funny. My sister's a lawyer, and I think she wins her cases half on very smart. She's very, very, very smart, my sister. But I think she also makes the judge laugh. And so that, oh, you know, humor gets you through everything.
Absolutely. Did you feel safe and encouraged to perform inside the family? Did you make people laugh?
I knew I had the power, and it is a power. I was on a fishing trip with my father, maybe 8 years old, and it was all doctors. My dad took me. And I remember at dinner making them laugh, and they weren't laughing at me. I knew at that age they were laughing with me, and I thought, this is terrific. And so I was funny from the beginning, but never putting a hat on funny. It was always a wit.
And did you perform at all when you went to school? Were you in any kind of formal plays or anything like that?
I was an actress from the time my eyes opened, and I knew I wanted it. But I was a very serious actress. It was always tragic. And I grew up during the war, and I would do a lot of fantasies that I was a spy.
Very exotic.
A little fat, ugly spy.
Were you fat?
I was a chubby, yes.
Were you really fat?
Yes.
Or were you your version of fat?
No.
Which, remember, I see it a whole other way.
No, because somebody wrote in my yearbook, so round, so firm, so fully packed is how we all think of you.
Wow. Did that upset you?
Upset me? Benjamin Freed. I'm still going to get you.
Unforgiven.
Unforgiving.
So did that prevent you from people from asking you to be in any kind of plays at school?
It prevented me from a social life. It prevented me from being the pretty girl. It prevented me from all those kind of things. The acting, it never stopped me because luckily I came to school and no one was attractive.
Excellent. So you went to a very ugly school.
I was a very lucky girl. So they might as soon use Joan as somebody else.
And did you have, in senior school, were you in a group of friends? Did you have a group of girlfriends?
I was never in the in-group, ever. I was always an outsider, as I still am today.
Really?
But I had friends, but it didn't matter, because I was like a racehorse. I mean, I wanted to go into the theater, and I wanted to be on the stage. So it didn't matter if I was in the in-group. It didn't matter if I got invited to the party. I truly was, it was like a calling.
And so do you think then you were using humour as a defence? I mean, that's a bit of an old chestnut.
I always used humour. I remember I went to one of the little dances, you know, you went to dancing school, and my very good friend Joan Bruder and I were not asked to dance, so we spread the rumor we had polio.
So it was impossible for you to get up and
that no one wanted to embarrass us.
Did you find that you could attract guys by being funny or not?
No, that's where it stopped. No, men don't want you too funny.
Why is that, do you think?
I think they're terrified that you might be smarter than they are, or brighter than they are, or cleverer than they are, or wittier. No, I think a man has to be terribly secure.
So did you have to temper your natural wit then if you were flirting?
Oh, I still do.
Do you?
I still do.
But it's kind of out there now, Joan. People know that that's a fact about you.
And I think it turns a lot of men off. A lot of people introduce me to their friends that she's not what she's like on television.
Oh, no. So does it have to be a gradual revelation of the...
I think it has to be only when I'm really secure with someone that I really am funny. I'm very quiet with people, very, as most of us are.
And are you naturally funny in your real life? Or do you save that stuff for stage?
I am the hostess's nemesis. They think, oh, we'll just sit Joan down there and she'll be so amusing. And when I don't know people, I do not talk. Never mind, not amusing. I write, at this age, questions that maybe I could ask them at the table.
Do you?
So, what do you think?
I love that about you. That's great.
Write them down. So you can see a lot of hostesses don't ask me twice.
Do you react against the fact that you're being required to be the jester?
Being asked to be the jester is a double-edged sword. I'm upset when people expect me to be the jester, and I don't like that. But the minute someone's in trouble, that's my job. And I know that's my job. And I've had friends that are dying, and I just call them up and make them laugh. That's my job.
And do you take great pleasure in being able to do that?
Yes, because I think that's why I'm put on earth. I remember once my husband was going to the hospital, and a friend of mine reminded me, and he was in great pain. He had had a blockage. And I said to him, Edgar, jokes or no jokes? And he said, no jokes. Swell.
So have you got girlfriends that will call you up to be cheered up?
Yes, my girlfriends call me up to be cheered up, and that's exactly what I do.
Who cheers you up, Joan?
No one.
Can I have that job?
I beg you. I lost my very good friend this year who used to call me. I'm in a terrible state now. There's no one.
But you have a funny daughter.
Very different humor.
Okay.
My daughter and I do not laugh at the same things. She gets what I'm saying, but we don't sit down and giggle together. Just doesn't happen.
Did she ever mind you being funny when she was growing up? Did she tell you off for it?
She didn't tell me off because I was very careful. I left her totally out of the act, except in a very positive way, as I did with my husband. I never made jokes about my husband. I was always the fool. On the wedding night, I was the one that I took the bag off my head and he jumped, you know. I think she didn't like her mother being funny. You're terribly embarrassed when your mother is falling down and doing all kinds of stupid things. I think it was very hard for her.
Did you use humor to help you discipline her?
Yes. I think you know, comedy is such a wonderful, not weapon is the wrong word. If you make somebody laugh, it just takes...
Dilutes it.
Dilutes it totally. And
did it work with her, though, with your kid?
Yes, it worked with her most of the time.
I need tips on that, then, because my kid really balks at that.
How old is she?
14.
Mine left home.
Really?
And as she was leaving, I said, you can't come back unless you're invited. It was funny.
It is tricky, but I thought one of the great things about being a parent was that I'd be quite a funny parent. I'm prepared to be a bit like a kid and have a nice time, but she really doesn't want that.
No, but your grandchildren will.
Okay, so I've got a bit of waiting to do.
My daughter wants me to be mother. And she wanted me always to be mother and not to be the clown. She wanted me to be mom, and I was the one she came to. And yes, we did use humor, but it was not, there was a lot of discipline. Now, my grandson knows I'm a fool and goes with it, and we have the best time, and it upsets my daughter, because we're just laughing, because I'm in a restaurant and I have 7 things on my head, you know, and things I did not do with her.
Tell me, what do you have in your passport as your occupation?
I know I've never put down entertainer. I've always put down writer. Usually writer.
Is that writer. Because you wouldn't put comic? You wouldn't put comedian?
No, that's the lowest form. The lowest form. She's a comic. It's the lowest form. No.
What is it about that? Do you not consider comedy to be a legitimate job?
I don't consider comedy to be an art form, even though it is. There are so few people we could talk to about that it's music, that it's all, you hear it and you know when to speak, that it's all done, to me, it's all about notes and music. They just stare at you. What? No, comedy they just think is the lowest form. You're an embarrassment.
So that's other people's judgment. That's why you do that?
I don't know. I never feel secure in it.
You think it's going to run out?
Totally. I think every day there's not one more funny thing I can think of. Daily, I think that.
But do you not think that you've got a skill?
No, I think I'm lucky. I improvise every Wednesday night in this little nightclub, and every Wednesday night I think, well, nothing new will come tonight. Nothing. There's nothing more I can think of that's funny. And then something comes, I'm so excited, along with the audience.
And when you work out that material, where are you putting that? Are you putting it into your top drawer ready for a big new show?
I just add it in. I've never done a show and then 2 years later came back with a new show. I don't think comedy really works that way. I think of it like a piece of tapestry, and you just keep adding stitches. And it just evolves very slowly. And you may have the same theme, but the jokes are different.
Do people thank you for making them laugh?
They thank me for breaking ground. I get furious because I'm not ready to go on the shelf yet.
No.
You know, I was
Please
doing
don't.
a comic relief, and 6 younger comedians came up and said, "Oh, because of you, we're here." And I thought, time to show these bitches. And I literally went on stage and just, I hate the term, destroyed the audience and didn't even come back for the bow. You know, it was like, okay, your turn.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, don't you tell me thank you. Learn.
But do punters, do they thank you?
Yes, but they say wonderful. I'll tell you what the joy of it is, besides the joy of the audience and all that. The joy is you're walking down the street and someone will come up and say, "You're the first one that made me laugh since my mother's death." That's a gift from them to me, not from me. After 9/11, and I was right back in the saddle immediately doing terrorist jokes. I mean, not skipping a beat, thinking of who I would have liked to have been in the tower if I had known it was going to happen, couldn't stop it. And I got a little flack for that, but there were a few people I would have said, "Can you meet me for breakfast?" So people would come up to me and say, "You're the first person who has made me laugh since this." And that was very important. I thought that was my little contribution.
Do you seek out the company of funny people?
I'm in nobody's circle. And so I don't have those wonderful dinners with Woody. You know what I mean? I've never been asked by Jay. No, I'm not in that group at all. And it makes me very sad, because I think it'd be wonderful to sit and talk, as you and I have been doing, to talk about something that very few people understand.
Do you think you give signals then that
Well,
that they misunderstand?
I'm very competitive. And there are a lot of funny ladies that I say, "Oh, isn't that wonderful? She got that, did she?" So I'm sure they feel that.
Are you jealous then of other good performers?
Oh, I am totally jealous. I am jealous of that little slut Paris Hilton. Why? I'm very, not jealous, I'm very competitive. And I think that's what's kept me going.
Yeah.
I'm not gracious. "Oh, give it to her." I don't think so. You're going to call her? You know, she's got the clap, but good luck.
Are you secretly glad there aren't more female comedians then?
I'm beyond glad there are more female comedians.
I suspected that.
Yes. No. They're just enough, and as they die, they die. There is no reason to replace.
Is it more difficult in this country at the moment to be outspoken about what you really think?
I think in this country, I get audiences that go, that my false eyelashes are pulled in the suction. Yes, we're a very politically correct country. And the only thing that's saving me is my age, because I don't care. And I come out and I say to them, "I've been up, I've been down, I've been fired, I've been hired, I've been broke, I've been this. What are you going to do to me? You're not going to like me? I don't give a damn. What can you do to me? You can't. So this is what I think.
What about comedy and age? Do you think there's a reason that you should ever stop?
If Adolf Hitler came back with 6 good minutes, we'd be finding reasons to put him on. You know what I mean? Oh, he didn't really mean it, or he was bipolar. You know, they'd find a reason. So,
ADHD.
Yeah, oh.
Yeah.
And there's a whole other side. Now there's a medication, a doll. A doll. His doctor's Jewish, you know. They always but I think as long as you look good, that they're not upset that you're physically going to fall over and die on them, because, you know, you do get that, towards the end, people do get that little birdie thing. I think they don't care what you look like if you're funny.
So do you think there's a relationship between comedy and beauty, then?
I think not so much with the women, because I've never seen a really beautiful girl say, I want to be a comedian. I'm either going to be a sex goddess or a comedian. You know, so that doesn't happen. But, you know, the really good male comics in repose are very good looking.
What about the women, though? What's the deal?
Girls don't tend to be funny that are very, very pretty.
Okay.
I think you do. I think you also have to hone it in a way. And I think if everything is coming to you, and you've woken up and you're 12 years old with long, gorgeous legs and perfect breasts and a fabulous look, and men are 4 inch feet, you don't have to do anything. It's the same principle they say great-looking people are lousy in bed. Because they don't have to do anything.
I think that's a fact.
You've never heard? Oh, I hope it is.
Yeah, I hope it is too.
Pray it is.
Do you think, well, I feel that when people are confident, they are beautiful. And when they are confident and funny, you can't top that when it comes to beauty.
Well, you're more secure than I am. I think you can't top beauty as long as you've got a great plastic surgeon. I know beauty is inside, all that, right. But nobody ever asked Margaret Thatcher to dance ahead of Julia Roberts. If they were both standing there, I think Julia would be asked to tango first.
But are you still waiting to be asked to dance then, Joan?
I am still waiting to be asked to dance.
I'm going to ask you to dance in a minute. We are going to dance before we finish this. So it's an interesting thing. You talk about plastic surgery in your show. So you're prepared to mock yourself.
Oh, I have to.
Yeah. Why do you have to?
Because I want them to know I don't think I'm wonderful. I don't think I'm better than they are. Part of comedy is saying I am you and you are me, and we're all feeling the same thing. And I think that by saying I've tried to make myself look better, and so should you, takes the onus away.
Okay. Do you think it keeps people away a little bit? Do you think, in other words, that you are allowing your vulnerability to be on view?
I think if you're not vulnerable, they're not going to laugh at what I want them to laugh at. A lot of my comedy, they have to be my friend to laugh. And so that's all part of saying, it's not so wonderful for me either. And then we all can laugh together.
That's a lot of layers, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're kind of saying...
Too many.
I've done this and I've done this.
Yeah.
So that...
And I'm trying.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to be good in bed, but it's not working. And I'm trying for this and it's not working. And then it's fine. And once they know it's happening in my life, I then can take them into other... We can move out.
Okay.
And we can really all explore a little more.
How do you match that with the cruelty?
But it isn't cruel. It's if you really look, it's much more observational. It's because I always think back, what have I said that's cruel? And I really can't think of one single line.
I think there's something about you, and I don't know what it is, that people love so much that they forgive you these moments that would be cruel out of the mouth of anybody else.
But they're also true. I was the first one to say Elizabeth Taylor was fat.
I remember that.
I
so clearly remember it.
I do too.
I remember you telling that joke about her standing in front of the microwave and saying, hurry!
They pierced her ears, gravy came out, she put on a yellow raincoat, 12 school children tried to board her. I mean, just on and on and on and on.
But how did you think Elizabeth Taylor might feel about that?
I actually was worried. But first of all, let's back up and say, everybody was doing Elizabeth Taylor jokes. I was the only one that got noticed for it, and I always like to think maybe because mine were funnier. But when it was reaching the point that it was really, really top you know, everyone was talking about it. I had Roddy McDowell, the actor, who was her very good friend, call her. And I said, if it's upsetting her, I'll stop. And she said to him, tell Joan, it doesn't hurt me where I live. Oh. Well, I went home and wrote 12 more jokes.
Yeah, great. But as a person who's very aware of their appearance, yes, it's interesting that you would choose somebody else's appearance to make your target. But maybe, you know that can hurt.
Yes, but maybe I was doing it because there's also self-hatred in there. Because I get so mad at me when I'm heavy, and I get so mad that I'm fat. And in a way, I'm almost mocking myself, that even the audience doesn't get that.
Would you ever allow acceptance of your body, of your face, of your beauty, to just... Would you ever let yourself off the hook?
I think it's too late.
No, there's always a stop point, Joan.
You should have spoken to me 30 years ago. It's too late now. I'm always worried, always insecure, always feeling, you know. And I'm one of those women that, you know, like Joan Collins walks into a room and she takes the air out of it, you know. I am here. I walk into a room and I fade. I truly fade away.
That is so hard to believe,
it's
but
true,
I do believe you. That's how you feel. That's your truth.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And what about the fact that the comedy gives you so much power? Don't you get a buzz out of the power?
The people I do take on are always very successful. I'm not the comedian that turns to the woman in the front row and says, where'd you get that piece of shit? Because that's not my style. Now, if she were making $20 million a movie, does Nicole Kidman care I didn't like her green Dior dress? I think she did not go home that night and cry.
But you are so successful and you care when people... You care
yes.
about how people perceive you?
Yes.
Why would you not think that they don't care?
I just think they're goddesses.
Do you?
See, I always think they got the good cards. Why would they care? If I had great legs and I looked fabulous, I wouldn't care. I'd laugh.
Oh, that's interesting. And do you find that anything is material?
Anything. People always say to me, is there anything off limits? And I always say, if I'm going to talk about it, then it's not off limits. So I don't know.
But you put your family, for instance, in a safe box?
I put my family in a safe box. Yes, I put Melissa's divorce, which has been and continues to be a very painful thing, my daughter. That's totally away at her request.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
did you have to get a bid in for that straight away?
My ex-son-in-law put it into the divorce agreement.
My mother-in-law must not tell jokes about this.
That they would prefer.
Oh, okay, okay.
That we did not do this, and it only comes back to hurt her.
Yeah. Have you ever felt misunderstood?
On stage or off?
On stage.
Every once in a while, but I really yell at them. And that's where my expression, can we talk, came from. Because if they're not getting what I'm saying, and again, I'm talking now, the wildest things that I'm talking about. The English people, had a program kind of, it was like going into the jungle, but with handicapped people, called Beyond Boundaries, which was, I could see them selling it. We'll take handicapped people and we'll put them on a course across the desert, and we'll see if the paraplegic can make it, and the blind man will help the deaf man. Well, they got out there, and I saw it, and I couldn't take my eyes off it. It was so horrible. First of all, the deaf man couldn't hear them voting him off. I mean, it was a nightmare. And you're out of here, Frank. He just kept going. And the girl with no arms, they kept saying, you're not pulling your weight. I mean, the whole thing was a nightmare. So I, of course, came on stage to talk to them about it on my tour of England. They were furious with me. They thought I was mocking handicapped people. And I got so I just turned around and don't yell at me. It's your show. Your grand prize is a bicycle. I mean, it's not me. And so I had to yell at them. And then once you yell and we get over that, it was fine. But I won't let them hurt me anymore on stage.
I would imagine your audience, after all they've paid to come and see you, they are willing you to be funny. Do you ever feel that they're going to laugh at anything?
I find that it's just the opposite, that audiences are in shock very often, and they have to come around. But I like that. See, I make a challenge.
Whose approval do you seek?
Whose approval do I seek? Everybody's. I don't work in a hostile atmosphere. I cannot work in a hostile atmosphere. I have to have a set where everybody loves everybody, and everybody loves me the most.
Have you always felt that then you didn't achieve the thing you wanted to? You wanted to be a straight actress?
Oh, I haven't achieved anything, no. No.
Joan, how
no,
can you say
don't
that?
start. I'm in a very tender moment in my life.
Okay.
No, I haven't achieved it all. I've never had that part that I wanted. I've never had the sitcom. People say, aren't you lucky you're under the radar? Well, maybe I should come into the radar.
Yeah. That's interesting.
No, I've achieved very little.
Well, let me tell you that you, for many of us, you are groundbreaking, and we're thankful to you.
Well,
simple as that.
Right.
Do you intend to go on and on and on?
I intend.
Answer is yes.
I will die on stage, and in the United States, if you're on for an hour in your contract and you're on for 31 minutes, they have to pay you. So you will never see me die till it's 31 minutes.
You have a timer put into your neck that will just ting.
So Melissa will get the check.
So you don't see any reason to stop?
Oh, no. I would be so unhappy. I love my work. I work now on a station called Court TV. I do a little 2-minute thing, Man on the Street, every week for them, that nobody even knows is on, 2 minutes. And my manager and all my assistants say, oh, we should really give this up, Joan. You know, and I can say, yeah, but you know, we get out, we have the crew. I love the crew. I love the lights. I love the business.
Do you think it's an addiction for you?
Total. I still, every time I walk into a studio and they say, watch the wires, I go, oh, you're backstage in the temple.
Maybe the fact is that you need that. You need something ahead of you to keep punching away at.
I still work under the principle of I'll show them.
Yeah.
And you'll be sorry. Yeah. Very mature.
No, that's great. Thank you so much, Joan.
I'm so
We're
pleased
done.
to talk to you. That's so great.